let's get back into hard news. I hate it. We're having such a good time, and now we're gonna fight. Now I'm gonna make you fight again, but it's okay. But I got to talk about the muzzle laws. There's these laws that have been introduced in a number of states to not talk about critical race theory. Now, critical race theory, I must say, to begin with, I hadn't heard the term probably a year ago. Now I hear it every day. I think Americans are just starting to hear it. And I think no one knows exactly what it is. They know it has something to do with race, and it's some kind of a theory. Right? How would you describe it? And then we'll ask, how would you describe it? What is critical race theory?
I will admit that I read a lot of critical race theory in law school. So, you know, the work of Derek Bell or Gene Stefancic
This is
and
the
Richard
stuff
Delgado.
no one knows but you and 6 other people.
Right. So
what matters is what is it practically? It's being taught in schools or some form of.
Yes, there's a certain sort of crystallized version of it that is a lot less complex than what critical race theory actually is. But critical race theory essentially argues that racism is baked into all the systems of American society, and that any sort of neutral system is in fact a guise for racial power. And so the argument is made by Derek Bell, for example, that Brown versus Board of Education, this is an argument he made in 1991, that Brown versus Board of Education was actually a way for the white community to leverage its own power. It wasn't an attempt to end segregation in public schools. Even things that are purportedly good in terms of race, so long as they uphold these broader systems, things like capitalism or things like the meritocracy, these things are actually just guises for power. And so what that boils down to in sort of practical terms is all disparity equals discrimination. If you can see any stat where black people are underperforming white people, this means the system was set up for the benefit of white people, and that white people have a duty to tear down these systems in order to alleviate the racism that's implicit in those systems. When it comes to schools, what this tends to boil down to is kids who are white have experienced privilege because the system was built for white people, and we have to change the standards.
Right.
He's right, man. He's exactly right. He's 100% right about that. And he knows he's taken part in it. That's how evil this devil is. So let's get it. This is Genesis 25, verse 25. The first one was very red at birth and covered with thick hair like a fur coat. So they named him Esau. Then the other twin was born with his hand grasping Esau's heel. So they named him Jacob. Isaac was 60 years old when the twins were born. And Isaac was the father of Jacob and Esau, and the son of Abraham. And Jacob is the progenitor of the Israelites, as Esau is the progenitor of the nation of Edom, which is the Caucasian man today.
Now, okay, well, so Malcolm, you tell me your definition.
Oh, I agree with everything he just said.
Oh, great.
And I appreciate you being honest in defining of what it's like to be Black American, right? That is, I mean, we're talking about a system.
That's unfair.
You're saying we can't. No, I'm just saying I agree with all of those suppositions because they are grounded in truth. Look, you know, and the funny thing is, it's not just African Americans, right? It's also the Scalp Act of 1749, where for $300 modern you had to cut off the head or the hair of an Indian to prove that you got them out of the way so they could settle. That's a little bit of American history that people should know about. The Chinese Exclusion Acts of the 1840s. These are things we don't talk about.
It's not true that people don't talk about these things. We all did learn about.
You don't want them talked about?
No, that's not true either.
You want to cancel
No,
them?
Malcolm, I'm sorry, you're lying.
That's
lying.
That's
just
not right.
It is lying. I've personally talked about many of the things that you just mentioned. I define critical race theory by citing the actual authors of critical race theory, and you seem to be a pretty good beneficiary of the meritocracy because you have merit, Malcolm. So if you're going to criticize the meritocracy as an outgrowth of white supremacy, then you're going to have to tear down the system that you've succeeded in because you have merit, or do not have merit.
You know, when my great...
All right. So you see how just by nature, he's a constant opposer. You know? It's almost like Ben Shapiro he's got like a hidden agenda or something. You know, he's just constantly opposing this brother and won't even let him talk. Neither does Bill Maher. He keeps trying to butt in also and cut it in as well. So if these statistics are true, right, which we all know they are, but why won't they let the brother speak? It's all like they're working and having like a hidden agenda or something, you know, because the true agenda is to keep the children of Israel down, the Israelites from never rising up, because it's prophesied in the Holy Book that the Israelites will rise up. So just by nature, Ben Shapiro, Esau, is just an opposer. He won't let this brother get a word in edgewise. This is Genesis chapter 12 from the top. The call of Abraham. Again, Abraham is the grandfather of Jacob. Jacob and Esau, technically. But Abraham is the father, the grandfather, you could say, of the Israelites. The Lord had said to Abraham, "Leave your native country, your relatives, and your father's family, and go to the land that I will show you. I will make you into a great nation. I will bless you and make you famous, and you will be a blessing to others. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who treat you with contempt. All the families of the earth will be blessed through you." So Abraham departed, as the Lord had instructed, and Lot went with him. Abraham was 75 years old when he left Haran. He took his wife Sarai, his nephew Lot, and all his wealth, his livestock, and all the people he had taken into his household at Haran, and headed for the land of Canaan. And Canaan was an empire that was at this time built up by heathens, basically. The Canaanite Empire were Egyptians who seceded from Egypt and created their own empire. All his wealth, Salakia, and all the people he had taken into his household at Haran, and headed toward the land of Canaan. When they arrived in Canaan, Abraham traveled through the land as far as Shechem. There he set up camp beside the oak of Moreh. At the time, the area was inhabited by Canaanites. Then the Lord appeared to Abraham and said, "I will give you this land to your descendants." And Abraham built an altar there and dedicated it to the Lord, who had appeared to him. And that's an actual event that took place in history. That's an actual event that went down in the ancient world. It's even today, it's considered one of the biggest events of history. The Canaanite Empire fell to the Israelites, because back then the children of Israel had all the mighty power. You know, and this was before the nation of Edom rose up over us. You know, the 12 tribes. So you see, the heathen never wants us to rise back up. But the powers that be, you could say the Illuminati, they're doing everything they can to keep us down. And from not rising up. You feel what I'm saying?
Grandfather ran away from slavery to join the 111th U.S. Colored Troops and fight against the South, keeping human beings as slaves. He didn't think, you know what? In 150 years, my great-great-grandson's going to have to sit on stage and argue with a guy who thinks all that's bullshit. All right? I'm just saying, there is no controversy. The controversy that's made up is people saying that this is being discussed, this is being taught in schools, and that kids should be kept away from it.
That's not true.
It's not even a real controversy.
Malcolm, the fifth largest school district in America, Clark County, just decided that they were going to lower standards with regard to testing because they wanted to alleviate disparities in outcomes. That is an outgrowth of critical race theory.
Can you draw a straight line to it?
Yes.
Really?
100%. Because when you say that the meritocracy is an outgrowth of white supremacy, and then you suggest that I'm somehow denying that slavery took place or that your great-great-great-grandfather was a hero because I'm saying that I want people tested when they are in school to see if they are good at school, then what you're purporting to push now is just nonsense. I'm sorry, just sheer bullshit, Malcolm. It's just bullshit.
No, but I think it's also a leap to say that he thought that was bullshit, because that's not what it is. I mean, are we talking about 2021? Or are we talking about 1861? Because
the point is, can we talk about 1861 and 2021?
Yes, we can. And
You just did.
I don't know who's against talking about history.
Well, I mean, I understand that they want to, in Texas, they're talking about removing references to the Ku Klux Klan. They're talking about removing. I mean, come on,
that's Texas.
How can you watch Forrest Gump without even knowing who Nathan Bedford Forrest is, right? I mean, these are people who are historical figures who did bad things. No one is actually saying we want to go back and erase everything and restart and talk to you about these things. Critical race theory is a subject because the Republican right has made it a subject. No real school organization.
Descendants of Edom, Esau. Genesis 36 from the top. This is the account of the descendants of Esau, also known as Edom. And Edom in the Hebrew means red. Esau married two young women from Canaan. And at this time, the Canaanite Empire had already fallen. It had already, at this point in time, it had belonged to us, the Israelites. The 12 tribes. So all this land was now inhabited by Israelites. So that's why Esau was in the land of Canaan and dwelled in the land of Canaan. And he married Adah, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Olubama, the daughter of Anna, the granddaughter of Zibeon, the Hivite. He also married his cousin Basmath, who was the daughter of Ishmael, and the sister who was the daughter of Ishmael, and the sister who was the daughter of Ishmael, and the sister of Nebaioth. Adah gave birth to a son named Eliphaz for Esau. And we're going to stop right there. Eliphaz is the father of Amelek. So now we're going to jump down. Verse 15. These are the descendants of Esau who became the leaders of various clans. The descendants of Esau's oldest son, Eliphaz, became the leader of the clans of Teman, Omar, Zepho, Kenaz, Korah, Gatam, and Amalek. These are the clan leaders in the land of Edom who descended from Eliphaz, who's Esau's son. And Amelek are the Amalekite Jews today, the Ashkenazi Jews today. They were some of the biggest slave owners in history. They're not Israelites. They're descendants of Esau.
Or
Now-
myths.
Well, okay.
Well,
Can I?
now I'm just
I don't know.
now I'm just confused.
Can I just,
what you're
as
talking
far
about.
as
Yeah, you're easily
what
confused.
people are experiencing in their lives, in their schools.
Yeah.
Okay, you're right. There are states like from the old Confederacy, I think, who do want to airbrush history. That's not, I think, the majority in this country. If you ask me critical race theory, if you say, does that mean teach history unvarnished? I would say yes, then I'm totally for critical race theory. If you say, does it mean acknowledging that racism persists today? I would say yes, teach that. Should we have remedial means? That's like affirmative action. There's lots of people who are against that. I'm still for that. I still think when you read the statistics, and I have some of them here, blacks earn 40% less, 90% less family wealth. High poverty high schools, 72% blacks to 31% white, live 6 years shorter, half as likely to go to college, 8 times more incarcerated. These are real statistics. The question is, wait, what do we do to address them? These are real statistics. You think we should address them? You think we should address them, right?
And when he looks at this damn devil, Ben Shapiro, the Amalekite, he like nods back at him like he's on crack or something. You know what I'm saying? And you can just tell just by the body language and the spirit that he doesn't care about black and brown lives, man. You know, any indigenous person at all. They never did, man. And if these statistics, like Bill Maher said, are real, which we all know they are, then why are they shutting out this brother every time he tries to bring up a point? I'm telling you, there's a hidden agenda here, man. This entertainment industry is a part of the beast system, man. Rulers of Edom. Genesis 36, verse 31. These are the kings who ruled in the land of Edom before any ruled over the Israelites. Verse 32. Bela, son of Bor, who ruled in Edom from the city of Dinhabah. When Bela died, Jabob, son of Zerah, from Bozrah, became king in his place. When Jabob died, Hussam, from the land of the Tinamites, became king in his place. When Hussam died, Hadad, son of Bedad, became king in his place and ruled from the city of Avith. He was the one who defeated the Mennonites in the land of Moab. When Hadad died, Samalah, from the city of Maskar, became king in his place. When Samalah died, Shaul, from the city of Rebotha on the river, became king in his place. When Shaul died, Baalhan, son of Akbor, became king in his place. When Baalahana, son of Akbor, died, Hadad became king in his place and ruled from the city of Paru. His wife was Methabel, the daughter of Matred and granddaughter of Mizab. These are the names of the leaders of the clans descended from Esau, who lived in the place named for them. Timnah, Alva, Jeth, Olmaba, Ella, Pinon, Kenza, Timan, Mibzar, Magdel, and Aram. These are the leaders of the clan of Edom, listed according to their settlement in the land they occupied. They all descend from Esau and the ancestors of the Edomites. So you understand, Ben Shapiro here is a devil, man. And he descends from these people, all these family lines. So let's get back to it.
The question is, what are we doing about it? Because if critical race theory means making children in school fixate on race, I'm not for that. If it's about collective guilt, I didn't do anything to your great-great-great-grandfather. I don't want to be responsible for that. If it's about, a toxicity of just from being born white, if it's a
So now we're going to go into Psalms 37, verse 7. O Lord, remember what the Edomites did on the day of the armies of Babylon captured Jerusalem. So we're not to forget about what you damn devils did to us. We're not to forget about when our holy mountain was brought down. We're to rise up. And the Lord commands us not to forget. And if you're a descendant of someone who's caused great pain to the indigenous peoples all over the world and this country, then you should be paying some sort of tax or something.
Dividing everybody into oppressor and oppressive, oppressed and oppressor, I'm not for that. So there are things that are being taught and are going around that I'm not for, that if that was critical race theory, I wouldn't be for.
I agree with you, and I don't think that's critical race theory.
But it's being,
I think
again,
what's happened here is what's happened here as this terminology, sort of like defund the police, has been hijacked and been framed around the left as that they want to do all this, they want to rip down the entire social fabric of America, and they want us to be guilty about everything. I want you to teach history. I had a lot of people in the military, I had a lot of people in the military, senior officers who had to make life and death decisions, who were total morons about the cultures and institutions and countries we were going into, and people died because
I have
of
a
that.
question.
I don't need that here.
If we agree that history should be taught, why are you defending critical race theory, which is not history?
Did I not just say a moment ago that I think that term has been hijacked and that's not what we're talking about?
Okay, so let's say critical race theory.
I'm going to go back and repeat that I didn't say that.
Okay.
You are literally defending critical race theory by redefining it as just teaching history, which is a cheap semantic trick, and you know it.
Is this what you do on your show? Because it sucks.
Malcolm, I appreciate that, but I will comfort myself tonight by sleeping on my bed made of money.
I'm sure we have an adult. I'm sure we have another adult subject to talk about.
Well, how about that Andrew Cuomo? I tell you, he's.
This is the book of Deuteronomy 25, verse 17. Never forget what the Amalekites did to you as you came from Egypt. They attacked you when you were exhausted and weary, and they struck down those who were straggling behind. They had no fear of God. Therefore, when the Lord your God has given you the rest of all your enemies in the land he is giving you as a special possession, you must destroy the Amalekites and ease their memory from under heaven. Never forget this. And again, another message to never forget, because look how arrogant Ben Shapiro is up on stage. He's just doing all this for money. He don't care about anybody but himself. He's getting paid good to be on that show. All right, this is Exodus, and this is the King James Version on the phone, off my phone here. And the Lord said unto Moses, write this for a memorial in a book, and rehearse it in the ears of Joshua. For I utterly put out the remembrance of Amelek from under heaven. So I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro, you're going to be destroyed. You and your whole family line of Edomites, gone. And your bed made of money. Sorry, buddy. All right. I want to give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Havashai. Shalom.